Good day, children. I'm Romais, your science teacher. I hope you all are safe and happy at home. So, I like you to welcome back for your class 7 science. Children, I hope you all are following the safety measures which is suggested by the government, like frequently washing hands for 20 seconds, avoid shaking hands, covering nose and mouth when you're coughing, and maintaining the social distance. And don't touch your eyes, nose, and mouth frequently, and even have the proper distance with animals also. Okay, and if you follow all these COVID safety measures, definitely you will be prevented from this virus. Children, I hope you all know the title of this lesson, that is nutrition in plants. So in the last session we have discussed about this lesson introduction, and there we have seen all living things have a few basic characteristics. So nutrition is one among the basic characteristics of all living organisms. So by this nutrition, we are getting energy, and it helps us for our mankind to survive. So children, now let us have a look over the topics whichever we have discussed in the previous video. So in the previous video, we have seen the definitions of the nutrition and what are called nutrients. Like carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, all those things, components are called as a nutrients. These nutrients provide us the nutrition that we have seen. So in the nutrition, there are major types. What are they that we have also seen? So there are two modes of nutrition: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. The types we have seen. Later on, we have focused on the autotrophic nutrition. So the organism whichever are able to make their own food, they are called autotrophs, and the mode of nutrition should be called as autotrophic nutrition. And in that we have seen the process of photosynthesis, very important process of photosynthesis. So this photosynthesis happens in plants. So it is a process of making for a plant that we have seen. In photosynthesis, we have seen the site where the photosynthesis happens and what are the raw materials is needed for the process of photosynthesis we have seen. So then after that, we have also seen like the how the exchange of gases happens during the process of photosynthesis. The gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen. So carbon dioxide is being taken in and oxygen is given out during the process of photosynthesis, and where it is happening, this happens in the place of stomata. That also we have seen. At last, we have seen the necessary conditions like water, sunlight, chlorophyll. All these are necessary conditions which affects the process of photosynthesis we have seen. Later, we have discussed about the reactions, like what is the reaction involved in the photosynthesis also we have seen. So in this picture, I just wanted to recapitulate the autotrophic nutrition in plants written. We all know green plants prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, all the green plants in the leaves there is a tiny small pores. They are called as stomata. Okay, the stomata are the small opening found in the lower surface of the leaves. So it consists of an opening called stomatal opening, and which is covered, surrounded by a two guard cells. So they help in the exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide diffuses into the leaves through the stomata that we have seen, and the pigment, the color, that is very important. Actually, the chlorophyll is it is a pigment which traps the sunlight, and after trapping the sunlight, it initiates the process of photosynthesis. Next, the water which is being poured near the roots are absorbed by the fine root hairs, and it is transported to all the parts of the plant through a xylem tissues. and even the food which has been prepared by a plant is also transported to all other parts of the plant by the phloem tissues. That also we have seen. So what are the raw materials necessary for the nutrition is carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. When this react together, you can see the products obtained. The products are glucose and oxygen. And here also we can see the chemical formulas of carbon dioxide. The chemical formula of carbon dioxide is CO2 and water is H2O. The product is glucose and oxygen. The chemical formula of glucose is C6H12O6 and for the oxygen it is O2. So children, in the previous picture we had a discussion on autotrophic nutrition. Now we are going to enter into the another mode of nutrition. It is called heterotrophic nutrition. In the heterotrophic nutrition, we are going to discuss what are heterotrophs and even this heterotrophic nutrition is further divided into few more types. What are the types, that also we are going to discuss in this heterotrophic nutrition. I hope you will enjoy this heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic nutrition in plants, that is what we are going to see now. So the heterotrophic nutrition is one of the major nutrition in the mode of nutrition in the plants. This heterotrophic nutrition is further divided into four main types. The first one is parasitic plants, second is saprophytic, third is insectivorous plant, and the last one, that is fourth one, is symbiotic plants. These are the four main heterotrophic modes of nutrition in plants. Before we are going to discuss about these types, let us see what is meant by heterotrophic nutrition. That is very important to understand what is heterotrophic nutrition. We all know some plants do not contain chlorophyll. That is, chlorophyll is a pigment which is responsible for the green color in the plant. But you would have seen many plants with different colors also. It is not that they don't have a chlorophyll in them. There are many other plants which do not contain chlorophyll. So, some grow in places where they do not get enough sunlight. Such plants are not able to carry out photosynthesis and depend on other organisms for nutrition. However, some plants, even though they contain chlorophyll and carry out photosynthesis, depend on other organisms for certain nutrients. So, organism, the plant, sorry, not an organism, a plants whichever there is a lack of chlorophyll, lack of sunlight and lack of nutrients, they depend upon heterotrophic nutrition. Such plants are called heterotrophs. So heterotrophic nutrition, first thing we have to discuss whether this heterotrophic nutrition is only for plants. Not at all. This heterotrophic nutrition is also seen in animals also. So first of all, let us see what are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are organisms who are unable to produce their own food and therefore must obtain food from an external sources. So they are going to depend upon either autotrophs or any other organism for the preparation of a food. So such type of an organism is called as heterotrophs and the nutrition which is followed by them is called as heterotrophic nutrition. So when we see about organism, here we have given a few examples of heterotrophic nutrition which is followed by the organisms like bacteria, protozoa, fungi, animals, even human beings involved in heterotrophic nutrition. We cannot prepare their own food, right? We can't prepare our own food like plants. So we depend upon either a plant source or animal source for our food. So we come under the category of heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, now let us see the first type of heterotrophic nutrition, that is parasitic plants. So parasitic plants, the plants is one that partially or other another plant, you call them as hosts for nutrition. So here these plants, they do not have chlorophyll, they cannot prepare their own food. So to get their food, they are going to depend upon other organisms. So that organism is going to provide them food is going to be called as a host. The example of a parasitic plant is Cascata, which is given here. You can see the pictures of these parasitic plants which I have seen. And it spreads like a creep on the other plant. So it's going to suck the nutrition from the host plant and it is going to take away its nutrition. So children, you can see the picture which is given here. It is all about a parasitic plant. So there is a big tree, and in the tree you can see there is a yellow colored creeper which is winding around it. So the tree is going to be act as a host for this creeper. The creeper is nothing but a parasitic plant which is Cascata. So what is the role of a host is the host is going to provide the nutrition. Actually, the parasitic plant is going to take away the nutrition from the host plant and it is going to live. So parasitic plants obtain their food directly from other plants, which are known as host plants. So which is the host here? The tree act as a host. The tree act as a host and it's going to provide the nutrition for the parasitic plant here. So children, again the few examples of parasitic plants is given in this here. Can you see three different types of parasitic plants I have given? In the last part of the picture, you can see there is a marking of a parasite, which is the parasite and which is the host. The green plant, the slender green plant is actually the host, which is going to provide the nutrition for the parasitic plant. So we know that the parasitic nutrition is a type of nutrition which depend on living plants and animals for their nutrition requirements. So when the plants depend upon other plant or animal for the nutrition requirement, they are should be called as parasites. So this parasite can be divided into two types: the endoparasites and ectoparasites. Ecto is the trees, whichever you are seeing as an example, is the ectoparasite which lives outside the body of an host called as a ectoparasites, and endoparasites are the parasites which live inside the body of the host. Then they are called as endoparasites. Now let's see another heterotrophic type of nutrition. It is saprophytic nutrition. So saprophytic plants is the one that obtain its nutrients from dead and decaying plants and animal matters. So from the word saprophytic, the word sapro means rotting, 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 and the word phytic refers to plant. So wherever you see the word phytic, phytons, which is means it is nothing but plants. They are referring to plants. So it is actually whitish in color sometimes, but some plants can have a bright colored flowers also. You can see the pictures which is given. Mostly they comes under a dark gray shades or white shades. So let's see what is given in that saprophytic nutrition. Some organism break down the food materials outside the body and then absorb it. Examples are fungi like bread, molds, and yeast and mushrooms. In this, organism releases enzymes to outside. These enzymes breaks the complex substances which are present in the dead organic matter into simple substances. Now children, let's perform a simple activity for saprophytic nutrition. So for this activity, the materials whichever is required is given in the picture. It is a slice of bread, a water, and a small Ziploc polythene cover is needed. Okay, so these things should be taken. After the session, you can even try at home. The same thing, if you have bread, water, and a cover at home, you can try this activity at home and see. Now, let's see the procedure should be followed for this activity. The step 1, you can see you are taking a bread in a plate. Keep the bread on a plate and spray or sprinkle a drop of waters on the surface of the bread like this, so that the bread become moisture enough. So this is the first step of this activity. So I repeat the activity again. Keep the bread in a plate and sprinkle a small amount of water on a surface of the bread. You can see the picture well. I think the picture shows you a clear idea. Okay, so then once the bread becomes moistened, keep it aside. So now let's see the second step of this activity. So in the second step, you can see in the picture the bread slice which has been moistened with the help of the water is kept in a Ziploc cover and it has been closed. So keep the moist bread in the cover and close it, and keep the cover in a warm and dark area for a few days. Let it be 5 days or 6 days also. Okay, so that you can see the changes whatever is happening in the bread. So our idea is to create a fungi on the bread. So we are going to grow fungi on a bread. Let's see whether it's going to happen or not. So now let's see the second step of this activity. So in the second step, you can see in the picture the bread slice which has been moistened with the help of the water is kept in a Ziploc cover and it has been closed. So keep the moist bread in the cover and close it, and keep the cover in a warm and dark area for a few days. Let it be 5 days or 6 days also. Okay, so that you can see the changes whatever is happening in the bread. So our idea is to create a fungi on the bread. So we are going to grow fungi on a bread. Let's see whether it's going to happen or not. So after 7 to 10 days, if you take out the bread slice, the master bread slice from the polythene cover, that's a Ziploc cover, what you are going to observe is a strange thing. So in the observation I have given, like you will see some gray patches on the bread. Can you see the gray patches on the screen? Yes. So these gray patches are nothing but the fungi which is grown on the bread. So how does this fungi is grown on the bread? It is all because of the moisture which is present in the bread, and we have not allowed sunlight to enter. So the reason we have kept it in the dark place. Due to these two reasons, the fungi has been grown on the bread, which you can see as a gray patches on the bread. So children, can you see this picture which is given now? So the bread mold, when the fungus is grown on the bread, it becomes grayish color as the days pass on. If you let the fungus to grow faster, to stay on the bread, it started to grow in a rapid state, and it grows on in a faster mode. It becomes a full gray. Can you see the picture there? Now let's see why the fungi, that is bread molds, grow on a bed. So spores are present everywhere in the atmosphere. The tiny mold spore are all around in the air. Once a spore lands on a surface of a bread, okay, it searches for the water and the nutrients to feed off. The food is available in the mold already because of it's kept in a perfect environment to foster a mold growth. The temperature is also a perfect temperature is seen, and air quality, it has a good air quality also. And the food itself provides the nutrient and water the mold needs in order to grow. As the spores takes roots, first it lands upon the bread and takes the nutrients from the bread, and then it takes the root. When the root starts to grow on the bread, it begins to spread and create more spores and spread quickly on the surface of your food, to which your food may get spoiled. It is also sometimes even seen in fruits and vegetables also. Okay. So now let's see the differences between the parasitic nutrition and saprophytic nutrition. So we have seen this parasitic and saprophytic nutrition comes under the heterotrophic nutrition of plants. Okay. Now what are its different, how each is different from each other, that we are going to see. So parasitic nutrition is defined as an organism that lives on other organism, which is known as host, either temporarily or permanently, and uses the host as a source of food. Whereas a saprophytic nutrition is defined as an organism which feeds on the matter that is decomposing from the dead organism. And what is the live food sources for both parasitic and the saprophytic, we are going to see. For parasitic, they are they are alive on host. For saprophytic, on the decomposing material matter of dead organism. So, and what are the effects if they are the heterotrophic? They cannot prepare their own food. They are going to depend upon other organism. So, what happened to the organism which they are going to live? That we are going to see as a effects. The parasitic is harmful for the host. Sometimes it may lead to death of the organism also. Not whereas for the saprophytic, it's not harmful for the living organism, and it actually helps the environment, because when there is a dead organism, for example, you can see a dead animal in the forest. Once it becomes dead, the saprophytes started, the spores started to grow on a organism. So it feeds on an organism, it helps in the decaying matter. So it acts like a scavenger here. So saprophytic is not harmful for the living organism, and whereas it helps the environment. But when you take a parasitic nutrition, it totally depend on the host. It even damage the cells of the host, and which leads the death of the host also. Okay. So children, till now we have discussed about heterotrophic nutrition, and its major two types only we have seen. The one is parasitic nutrition, the second one is saprophytic nutrition alone we have seen. And here I have attached the home assignment for you. In this home assignment, I have given a notes, the related notes in the points which is has to be remembered. So your home assignment is like you are going to read the notes whichever I have given, the definitions I have given for the main content. So you are going to read the definitions, and you are going to write all the definition one time in your rough notebook. You are going to write the home assignment in the rough notebook, and before writing, try to read and understand the definition. Okay. Thank you children. I hope you enjoyed this session. The next session will be concluding the chapter, and will be learning about the few more heterotrophic nutritions also. Thank you children. Stay safe at home.